South Korea's biggest chipmaker just bet nearly $30 billion that AI chips will dominate the next decade, and they are doing it by listing on Nasdaq for the first time. SK Hynix doesn't make processors like Nvidia does. They make memory chips, the RAM that actually thinks. When Nvidia releases a new AI chip, it's only as fast as the memory feeding it data. SK Hynix supplies that memory to every major AI company on the planet. Right now, Nvidia can't build fast enough because they are memory-bound. They are bottlenecked by how quickly chips, like SK Hynix's, can shuttle data around. Think of it like having a race car engine, but only a garden hose for fuel delivery. SK Hynix making $30 billion available means they are building massive new factories dedicated to making the exact memory chips that feed today's AI boom. This is huge because it signals something nobody in the mainstream media is talking about yet. The real bottleneck in the AI arms race isn't processors anymore. It's memory. It's the unglamorous but absolutely critical chips that sit between your CPU and the outside world. And here's what the headlines aren't telling you. This move by SK Hynix is essentially them saying they've already won against every other memory maker globally. Here's who SK Hynix is and why they matter. They're the world's second largest memory chip manufacturer. Only Samsung is bigger. For decades, they've been quietly powering everything from your smartphone to the data centers that run ChatGPT. Their main headquarters is in Incheon, South Korea, and they've been locked in an intense three-way competitive battle with Samsung and Micron for dominance in DRAM and NAND flash markets. Think of memory chips like your brain's scratchpad, the working surface where you hold information while actively thinking about it. Remove that scratchpad and cognition stops. SK Hynix manufactures the scratchpad. In the last 5 years, AI has explosively increased demand for memory. Every large language model needs gigabytes of fast, expensive NAND and DRAM to operate. Cloud providers like OpenAI, Google, and Meta are locked in a desperate race to acquire more memory capacity faster than competitors. SK Hynix watched this trend and realized they had a choice: invest massively in new production capacity or watch their market share get crushed. The problem is brutal economics. Building a state-of-the-art memory fabrication plant costs between $10 and $20 billion and takes 3 to 5 years to complete. That's capital most companies simply don't have lying around. And here's what most people don't realize. You can't just borrow that kind of money cheaply. So why is this $29 billion listing such a big deal? Because it's not just a fundraising effort. It's a signal that SK Hynix is betting everything on one thesis. Artificial intelligence will define the next decade, and whoever controls memory supply controls the entire industry. Right now, the semiconductor space is split into two camps. There's the glamorous camp, companies like Nvidia that design cutting-edge AI processors that everyone talks about. Then there's the unglamorous but absolutely essential camp, memory makers like SK Hynix. Everyone wants the Nvidia GPU, but without SK Hynix memory, that GPU is completely useless. It's like having a supercomputer brain with no RAM. Memory is the bottleneck right now. Nvidia could probably make twice as many chips as they currently do if memory was available. This is why SK Hynix is raising the cash. They're going to build new fabrication plants and retool existing ones to produce the exact types of memory that AI needs. We are talking about high bandwidth memory, or HBM, which is specialized ultra-fast memory designed specifically for AI applications. One HBM stack can cost hundreds of dollars. They're positioning themselves to own that market. And this is where it gets interesting. South Korea has committed to being the memory chip capital of the world. What does this actually mean in practical terms? Let's say you're using ChatGPT right now. Your query goes to an Nvidia A100 GPU somewhere in a data center. That A100 is stacked with SK Hynix high bandwidth memory. When the GPU processes your question, it's constantly reading and writing data into that memory, millions of tiny transactions per second. If the memory is slow, the GPU sits idle waiting, which wastes electricity and slows down your response. SK Hynix memory is optimized to minimize that wait time. Now think about what's happening at scale. OpenAI runs thousands of these GPUs, so does Google, so does Meta, and they're all competing for every bit of memory production SK Hynix, Samsung, and Micron can make. The demand is so intense right now that memory prices have been climbing, which makes training AI models more expensive. SK Hynix raising this cash means they can expand production and theoretically increase supply, which could eventually bring prices down, or at least prevent them from rising further. It's not just about OpenAI either. Every AI startup, every cloud provider, every company building an LLM, they're all competing for the same limited memory supply. That supply constraint is one of the reasons AI is so expensive to train right now. But here's what changes everything. To understand why raising $29 billion matters this much, compare it to other recent tech fundraisings and IPOs. When Stripe raised $95 million back in 2014, it was considered massive for a payment startup. When OpenAI eventually goes public, and they probably will, analysts are estimating a $100 billion valuation minimum. But here's the thing, SK Hynix's market cap before this offering was already worth roughly $60 billion. They're not a startup. They're an established global manufacturer raising capital to fuel expansion. That's more similar to Intel going through an expansion cycle or Samsung investing in new facilities. The difference is the scale of commitment. When Intel or Samsung think about expanding, they're moving slowly. SK Hynix is saying we are going to bet $29 billion on the AI wave happening exactly as predicted. No hedging, no slowdown. Only a few companies in history have made that kind of directional bet publicly. Apple did it with the iPhone, betting the company on touch screens and mobile. That worked out. Tesla did it with electric vehicles when everyone thought they were a joke. That worked too. SK Hynix is betting that memory will be to AI what oil was to the Industrial Revolution. And this is where it gets fascinating. So what's the real implication here? If SK Hynix successfully executes this expansion plan, they become even more dominant in memory production. That's bad for Samsung and Micron, who'll have to match their investment to stay competitive. It's good for everyone building AI systems because more supply means prices should stabilize or drop. But here's the twist: South Korea suddenly becomes geopolitically critical for the entire AI industry. Right now, manufacturing for advanced semiconductors is concentrated in a few countries: South Korea, Taiwan, and the United States. If geopolitical tensions flare up, especially around Taiwan, the entire AI supply chain becomes fragile. South Korea is safer, more stable, and increasingly becoming the fallback supplier for the world. SK Hynix's expansion essentially makes South Korea the swing producer of AI memory. That's enormous leverage in global tech competition. From a pure tech perspective, this capital raise signals confidence that the AI boom is not a hype cycle. It's a structural change in computing. Nvidia believes that. Google believes that. And now SK Hynix, a 40-year-old chip manufacturer, is betting their future on it. That's a strong signal. When established Fortune 500 companies start betting $30 billion on something, it's usually worth paying attention to. But what should you actually watch for here? Here's what you should actually watch for going forward. First, watch memory chip prices. SK Hynix is claiming they'll increase production, but execution is everything. If prices stay elevated or keep climbing, it means their expansion is taking longer than expected. If prices stabilize or drop, they are winning. Second, pay attention to SK Hynix's new product announcements. They might introduce new types of memory specifically for AI, or they might dramatically speed up their memory refresh cycles. That's how you know they are serious about capturing AI demand. Third, watch for competitive responses from Samsung and Micron. If they stay quiet, it means SK Hynix has already won the race. If they announce their own massive expansions, it means there's genuine concern on their side. Fourth, monitor geopolitical developments around South Korea. Trade disputes, military tensions, tariffs, any of these could disrupt their expansion plans. That sounds abstract, but it matters. Finally, watch for acquisition activity. SK Hynix might buy smaller specialized memory companies to accelerate their AI product roadmap. That would be a clear signal they are moving fast. The bottom line is this: SK Hynix's $29 billion bet is one of the clearest signals from an established tech company that AI isn't slowing down. And here's the thing that'll surprise you. Here's what this actually means for you. Whether you're coding with AI, using ChatGPT daily, or running a startup that depends on AI infrastructure, SK Hynix's $29 billion bet affects you. It means the tools you're using today will probably get faster and cheaper over the next 3 to 5 years. It means the AI arms race isn't ending, it's accelerating. It means South Korea is becoming the most important country in the world for technology, right up there with Taiwan and the United States. But here's the bigger picture. This move by SK Hynix is how you know the AI boom is real. Nobody invests $30 billion in a hype cycle. They do it when they are certain about long-term structural demand. SK Hynix is betting the company. That's confidence. So here's what you should do right now. If you're interested in how AI infrastructure works, follow SK Hynix's announcements and product roadmap over the next 18 months. If you're investing, watch memory stocks, both SK Hynix and their competitors. They'll tell you who's winning the race. If you're building AI products, start paying attention to memory constraints, because that's probably going to be your next bottleneck. And if you want daily breakdowns of stories like this, just follow the channel for daily AI news.